This is Audiobook Caboodle YouTube channel. Click on the subscribe button and listen unlimited audiobooks anytime, anywhere.
Part 3. Achievement. O hills of Palestine, a sadness hangs on slope and summit, and in plains beneath broods as a meadow mist the chilling ghost of lost occasion and long perished hope. O land of promise, how art thou become, to hearts that love thee, land of bitterness! Yet not the measure of thy sins was full then, when the things I tell of chanced, and still some gleams of glory visited the soil, less hard than hearts that crucified the Christ. Lilies sprang from it, gloriously arrayed, whose paler kindred in our bleak north clime we name windflowers. The land was rich with them, the unreaped harvest of the lavish spring, when Philo and Leander, rumor led from place to place, passed southward. The same way many were journeying, and they joined the crowd, who questioned not, but deemed them Hellene Jews, haply from Alexandria or from Crete, who crossed the sea to keep the Passover. At last, a hilltop gained, Jerusalem lay washed with mourning at their feet, and shouts rose from the multitude of joy and pride. But little stirred their Grecian souls the sight, so unlike Greece. The white-walled city blazed in pearl and topaz 'neath the orient blue, and like some gorgeous jewel's central gem, flashed in the midst the one vast golden shrine. And little moved them all the spectacle, the stirring crowds, the eager worshippers. One man they sought, one question asked of all.
Where is the teacher?
The new teacher.
Much they marveled that so few had heard his fame, nor any knew if he were there or no. But one day, wandering from the city gate, they met, slow winding down the dusty hill, a strange procession. On the gentlest beast rode one, the gentlest seeming of all men. And as he went, upon the road before, the crowd spread palms in triumph, or flung down their garments for the tread of those slow feet. And with a flash of joy, Leander turned to his companion.
This is he.
Past the procession, and with wondering joy they followed to the city gate, and through the gate unto the temple precincts. There, forbid to enter, they were forced to turn, and unaccomplished see their golden hopes, that yet burned brightly. For they said together, soon as the festival was past, and stilled the unused stir and tumult of the streets, then should they find him. So day followed day, and solitary yet they dwelt, aloof in life and feeling from the alien folk, and finding not amid the jealous Jews the liberal human love of Hellene hearts. For the pure souls of Hellas ever seem open as their own temples to the light of sea and land and sky, made beautiful, as these with sculpture, by the memories of noble days and deeds and heroes dead. Yet once again they saw the man they sought. 3 days had passed, or 4, and then a day came memorable for mysterious awe, oppressed with dreadful dreams, and terrible for thick unnatural night, that at the noon hid earth and heaven. And when at length it passed, and the mild evening, breathing consolation, brought calm and lucid the clear light again, from the hot streets they turned, and sought a hill hard by the city. As they gained the brow, a sudden horror shook again their souls, for gaunt against the silvery evening light, 3 crosses stretched their ghastly arms in air, and on them, murdered in the barbarous mode of the world's masters, still 3 corpses hung. The public footway led beneath, and they, spite of repugnance, followed, murmuring low words of good omen to avert the ill. And nearer drawing, round the midmost cross, they marked a little crowd, women and men weeping, and one who clasped and kissed the feet, pallid and pierced with nails. The gracious Greeks, reverent to human sorrow, stepped aside, and lifted, as they passed, their eyes to see what criminal was he, whose death of shame was by such love attended. And the face they saw, that none who looked on could forget, marred now by mortal suffering, yet supreme even in the pains of death, or death and pain. The face they saw and knew, and like a flood surging o'er sunny fields, o'er all their hopes, dark disappointment swelled, and dull despair. And like a mocking echo of their thoughts, fell from the scornful lips of one who passed,
"He saved others, himself he could not save."
Our years oft take their impress from one hour of joy or sorrow, and to these the light of many days was in 1 hour made dark. Homeward they hasted from that alien land, the unfamiliar speech, the cruel race that slew the teacher of the blameless tongue. Homeward across the sea all Hellenes love. And as they drew near Hellas, their sad hearts warmed with the love of home, and hand in hand they clasped, and vowed to vex their souls no more, but live such quiet lives as all men live, and take their daily lot of sun and rain as others, and like others quietly give up the reading of the riddle death. But to Leander, as they drew near home, rose up in starlit sky and sunlit sea the face of Helen. And if ecstasy, in some forgetful moment when the breeze blew freshly and the sun danced on the sea, soared to its natural heaven, then swift and sure the arrow of remembrance reached it there, and like a wounded lark it fell to earth in torment unremediable. At last, on a calm eventide, when all day long to them slow-sailing distant hills of Greece had lain in shadowy purple on their lee, when night, soft-hearted, soothing, motherly, had laid her loving hand upon his head, no longer he forbore, but to his friend told of his life what he had left untold, how Helen had been wedded and was dead. But that large heart, grown wise with sympathy more than experience of the ways of men, gently as he who probes a sufferer's wound to know if he may heal it, touch, by artful questions answered artlessly, discerned the world-old tale of woman's guile, ruthless in love. And first by meaning words dropped lightly, then by plainer hints, and last by open explanation, lifted high Leander's heart to long-forgotten hope. And now to him the wind's swift wings were slow, and long the flying hours. But the good wind neither for hopes blew faster, nor for fears faltered, but ever bore them steadily, till out of a grey dawn flashed like a star far off a pillared temple on a height. His eyes the earliest hailed it, and his feet were first upon the land, but tremblingly he trod the well-known ways, and sick with doubt came to the doorway. Then, oh joy, joy, joy! For Helen lived, and with sweet woman's faith had waited, and with woman's hope had watched, and now with woman's love she welcomed him. Nor would those long-tried comrades part again, but in one tranquil home the three together lived peaceful days. Yet upon Philo's heart and on Leander's still a shadow lay, light brooding as the shadow of a cloud, but unremoving and unchangeable, the shadow of a life's high enterprise failed in, a great achievement unachieved. But in the slow years passing came a day that brought, how little hoped for, the fulfillment of their old dreams. It fell upon a day that Philo, moved by ancient memories, grew fain once more to visit his old home in Athens, and he left his friends awhile, and once again with unfamiliar feet trod the familiar ways, streets, temples, halls, amid the olives and the marbles, paced Poecile and the groves of Academe, saw yet again the shade of Plato rise, lived his old life again, and found his soul filled with forlorn ghosts of forgotten days, and softened with most pitying tenderness to the young life that hardly seemed his own, whose iridescent dreams were grown so grey. And the days went, and they who watched at home wondered at his long tarrying. But at last he came, upon a golden eventide, that lit his face and his white locks with gold. And much they welcomed him, and brought him in within the darkening house, and wondered then, because the fire was still upon his face, the sunset glow, or some diviner light.
Master and friend,
Leander cried at last,
what rapture has relit your eyes with flame? They have not burned so brightly since the hour when hope died in our hearts. What joy is this? What have you seen? What heard? May we too hear and share your joy.
I, you, and all the world. Well may a rapture re-illume the eyes that see the dawning of an age of gold, fairer than fabled. Mind you him we saw dead hanging on the cross? His death that day crowned hope, not quested as we thought. He lives, risen from the dead.
What, have you seen him?
Nay, but many saw him. I have spoken with one.
Oh, Master, tell us step by step your tale. We need a stairway to such heights of joy.
Climbing to Areopagus one day, I came upon a crowd who pressed to hear some speaker. Drawing nearer, I beheld one most noteworthy in the midst, of look most lofty, but of stature small, and raised on steps or statue base for all to see. When first I caught his words articulate, he had drawn all eyes, and stopped the smallest stir, by some arrestive power of earnestness, or eloquent exordium, and was saying, hath raised him from the dead. But at that word arose light laughter from the careless crowd of ritual-serving skeptics, and the most turned and departed scornfully. But I, a certain wild hope springing in my heart, lingered, and shouldering through the ebbing throng, found some few others gathered round the man, eager to question of his wondrous news. What shall I say? How in few words tell all? How make you understand what power there was, or in the man, or in his message, made to doubt impossible? While in our ears he told the story of the blameless life whose crown was crucifixion. But the sequel outmatched the rest in miracle. The tomb found vacant in the glimmering dawn, the vision of angels, and the visitant who bore in living hands and feet the scars of death, looked on by human eyes, by human hands touched for faith's token. Thus was taught the world that immortality is not the dream of poets, but the real life of man. The light we thought a spangle proves a star. The toy we lightly played with or threw by proves treasure trusted till a reckoning day, infinity to climb, eternity to spend in climbing. See you how this world, pleasure and pain, loss, gain, in such a view sink into nothing. Good and evil mean to mortals little, to immortals all. Thus that foiled painful life looked back upon, orbed into starlight glory, radiating a brightening revelation as they saw, they his disciples who had been with him, how every word and act in him had set to that one central truth, mysterious then, now manifest past doubt, since he that died was seen re-risen.
O Master, as the light of sunset after a long day of rain are your assuring words. Yet bear with me. Is all that I have worshipped in the world, beauty, the ether of the panting soul, art that half soothes, half quickens the soul's thirst, are these not worship-worthy? And the gods whom we have reverenced, are they gods no more?
Rather I think that they were never gods, but lovely idols of the mind of man, as are their images his handiwork, not the inhuman Moloch and his like. Let them be devils, as the Jews believe. But of our Hellene gods, not all are base, adulterous, criminal. Consider them evil and good together. Are they not the likeness of the natural mind of man, each human attribute idealized? The best of them but earthly, and earthly things now dwindle in the expanse of opening heaven. Yet with all fair things they may take fit place, with stars and flowers and statues let them be, unmeet for worship, not unmeet for love. But we as men upon a mist-girt isle have long enough been fooled with petty hills and mimic rivers, long enough have played in earnestness with toys of flower and shell. What when the mist is rent, and full revealed lies the vast ocean, shall we turn our backs and shut our eyes, and make believe again? What madman so deluded, when this life whose vanity our own philosophers have tired our ears with teaching, this brief life subject to death, this body thrall to pain, are but for trial trusted us, to prove if we be worthy an immortal life, a body passionless?
But those rare moods of exaltation in my dreams of Pan, are they illusions only?
Nay, not so. This Christ accomplishes your dreams of Pan in ways beyond your dreaming. He put off his immortality to dwell with men. He labored with the laborer. He wept with those that mourned. For him the wild field flower shone fairer than the splendors of a king. And in all nature, earth and sky and sea, he taught how near beneath the surface lies the golden ore of truth, which shining through awakens such wild yearnings as to me, you, poet, have confessed. Poet, take heart. All that makes nature fuller voiced to man, poem or picture, is of God, and lends its tittle of help to his untiring work, of lifting man above the mists of self, to see the vision of the eternal. Christ has once for all done that tremendous thing, whose awful need had pressed for ages past on souls clear-sighted, like a cloud of doom, and made of poets prophets menacing. Henceforth may they look forth with lighter heart, fulfill their natural order, and become nature's interpreters in all her ways, of herb or beast or star or human kind. So they give God the glory, and the first of aspiration, gladness, love to him, from whom all good gifts come.
He ceased, and now, scarce heeded in their converse, night had fallen. So after some brief silence Helen rose, and filled an ancient lamp with odorous oil. The soft light stole through all the darkened room. One breath of summer night just stirred the flame, and through the window one bright star looked in. Then looking each on other, with one thought moving them, on the glimmering marble floor they knelt together, and prayed the prayer of Christ. End of Part 3. End of A Lost God by Francis William Bourdillon.
This was Audiobook Caboodle YouTube channel presentation.